Hi. What?
Hello, it is your girl, Dr. Wendy Talley at the Leaders Lounge. Listen, we are back for another amazing show. I gave you guys the intro. I told y'all it was going to be unfiltered, bold, straight shooter, no chaser. We are saying all. Listen, I developed the Leaders Lounge so that leaders can be able to come into a room with like-minded people so they can say all the things they've been wanting to say, get the stuff off of their chest, raw and to the point. Listen, sometimes we need to be in rooms where people won't judge us. We're not on camera all the time. We're not showing our brand all the time, but that we can just take our coat off. We could take off our shoes. Heck, some of us may need to take off our bra and let these suckers hang so that we can be able to feel what we need to feel, get it off of our chest, reset that button, right? Take a nice little glass and then hit it again on Monday, right? So I am here with you today to talk about an amazing topic. This topic is going to be amazing, but first I want to introduce to you, right? Man, this person, with no shadow of a doubt, is definitely a leader in the business. She has her stuff together. Her name is Dr. Say it with me, Doctor, okay? Dr. Tajiri Brackens. Listen, let me just read this by because I want to make sure we get all of the wording together because, I want to mess up on somebody's profile. All right. Okay. So let me just tell you who she is. Dr. Tajiri Brackens is known as the workplace wizard, honey. Yes. She is a leadership strategist, employee retention expert, and the founder of Heritage Leadership Consulting LLC. Honey, let's say it again, LLC. We are talking about fully funded. Yes, also. So listen, with over 30 years of experience in sales, leadership, and workplace culture, transformation, this woman right here, she equips my mid-level managers, rising leaders with actionable strategies to reduce turnover and boost engagement. Man, what more do you need as far as for your business? You definitely need this woman in your room. So she is, get this. She's just not a leadership strategist, right? She's a best-selling author multiple times. And she's been on Forbes Black member. Hello, come on. Can I get on? I'm not even put on that. So I need you to go and hook a girl up. So we're going to do that. Dr. Brackens blends powerful storytelling, behavioral insight, transformational frameworks for like the Oz experience, wicked leadership. Honey, let's say that again. The Oz experience, wicked leadership. Yes. And the Emerald Code to shift how organizations lead and how individuals rise. Honey, I can go on and on. She is a national and international speaker. Let me please introduce you to the amazing, all the way from Texas, Dr. Tajiri Brackens. Hey, boo!
Wait a minute, hold on.
We
and
got
the crowd goes
I don't know what
wild.
that button is. We got to get that button. So yes, Dr. Tajiri, welcome to the Leaders Lounge, honey. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. All I can say is, can I take you as my hype woman everywhere I go?
Listen, let's get on these planes. Let's get on these trains and we going to do what we do, honey. Yes.
Well, hold up now. You talking about planes. I just got to... we need to make sure that the government and them air traffic control people, they got their stuff together.
Listen.
But that's another talk show another day.
Absolutely. But I'm a Delta lover, Delta One, first class all day. Delta Comfort is not that comfortable, but get me into that exit aisle. I got some leg room. Okay. Well, welcome, beautiful, to the Leaders Lounge.
You.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So listen. We are going to talk about an amazing topic today because I could not get anyone else to talk about this. You're the only one that can do this, right? Okay. You're the only one that can speak to this topic. And I know you're going to give it to us bold and straight to the point. Okay. So we're going to talk about the topic, the silent resignation, right? Some people call it the quiet quitting. So the silent resignation when leaders check out. Okay, but they actually physically stay in. So That's the topic of today. So I want to get your input on this, because with silent resignation, pretty much that's all about people quitting in a way that all they're doing is giving the bare minimum. That's it. All leaders are doing is just giving the bare minimum. They're not going overboard. They are not giving their all. They're just going to give you the basics. They're going to pack up their little lunchbox. They're going to go back home to Helen or Shaniqua, and they're going to sit up there and go into that kitchen, and they're going to sit up there with their glass and eat their chicken strips. That's all they're going to do, right?
Oh,
and
my gosh.
Listen, all day long. I told you the Leaders Lounge is unfiltered, bold, and straight to the point. But we know Helen making sure that he got his raisin-filled macaroni and cheese. So listen, so this is what silent resignation is all about, because leaders are tired.
Wait a minute, hold up. Did you just say raisin-filled macaroni and cheese?
This is
I'm digesting that. She didn't say potato salad. She said macaroni and cheese.
Yes.
Okay, carry on. So let me just give y'all, if y'all see me sipping on my water, because the sister got to stay hydrated, because there's going to be some fire going on out of these pipes. Just know that's one of those, instead of my sipping tea, Kermit sipping tea, I'm sipping my water.
Absolutely.
And that's some good.
Some good. Awesome. So this is what leaders are doing. It's so much pressure with things that are going on right now in our current economic climate. People are losing their jobs. People are transitioning. And it's not folks that are line staff. These are not the staff that are doing the work, they're boots on the ground. Mm-hmm. These are people that are in their executives positions. They're your managers. They are your leaders that are actually being sent home, and they're losing their livelihood. So they need something. So silent resignation is about that. So the first question I want to ask you, so we can really jump into this thing, because we really need your expertise on this. It's surrounding, the ghost in the boardroom. Okay. This is when leaders just mentally check out, right? So my first question to you is, what are the biggest signs, right, that a leader has quit mentally, but they're still holding the title?
Mm.
Let me.
So first, let me say, when you were talking about that in the beginning just now, I call it doing just enough to keep from getting fired.
Right.
And that's, showing up, doing a job, come 5 o'clock. You know what? I'm not going to even say 5 o'clock. Come noontime, when lunch is ready, you already out of there.
Yes.
Completely out of there. And I'll just say this. I'm sure you've heard this expression: the lights are on, but ain't nobody home.
Right. It's dark.
Yes. Well, your lights are on, so it's not completely dark, but it is dead silent. You can hear a rat piss on cotton. It is that quiet in the room. So
unfiltered, raw Leaders Lounge. Keep going.
That ties into the wicked leadership that you mentioned earlier. So it's kind of like watching the Tin Man rust in real time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The drive is not there. The heart isn't there. They're just literally going through the motions. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. It's time for me to go get my coffee. Oh, we got a 10 o'clock meeting. Okay, it's 10 minutes till. Let me go ahead and log into the Zoom or the Meets or whatever it is platform. Okay, let me sit here. I really want to turn my camera off, but I have to have my camera on because my mind and my facial expression is going to tell the whole story as far as what I'm really thinking. Because it's not my mouth that get me in trouble. It's all of this that gets me in trouble in those times. And you can tell the entire conversation from A to Z just by one look or one simple gesture.
Absolutely.
So, we have all been there, or better yet, I got something else that I really want to be doing while this meeting is going on. Mm-hmm. What you're talking about could have been emailed, and let me go be productive on something else, whether it be my side hustle, my business, ordering DoorDash, doing something else where my attention and my heart really are, versus being here in this space with you, because the environment, the culture is just not conducive to me anymore. And I just don't want to be here.
I'm
But I'm here because I've developed a habit of eating. I've developed a habit of keeping a roof over my head, having some wheels to be able to get up and go, those type of things. That's what's really keeping me here. But I am so not motivated because this place is it's not conducive to me. It's not beneficial to me anymore. Yeah. But I got other people that are relying on me. So that's why I have to be here. Y'all not valuing who I am. You don't understand all of this greatness that's wrapped up in this package that can help benefit you and the organization. Right. You're minimizing me. You're devaluing me. So, why am I really here?
Right.
Why am I here?
I'm glad you're mentioning that, because the unfortunate vision that I have in my head it was on Instagram about, there was a meeting with some managers, and one of the managers had his camera on while he was sitting on the toilet, and he had forgot. Hallelujah. He had forgot to turn off his camera, and they said, "Sir, your camera's on," and he stood up. Glory, and let them use you.
Clutch my invisible pearls.
Yes. And that silent resignation for leaders is when you just don't give a damn, and you just start doing things to hopefully they will fire you because you don't have enough balls, to be able to say, I just want to go. Right. So, a lot of causes happen when it comes to silently, resigning. They talked about quiet quitting a lot with the younger generation, especially during the pandemic. It's really started in 2021. A Gallup poll had discovered that when that was all going on. But some of the causes that I have found in my research is lack of motivation, resignation, inadequate working conditions. These are just some of those things. So I'm glad you're touching on the mental part that you have completely checked out. Which brings me to the next question. Have you personally, in your coaching and your consulting and in your professional experience, have you ever been in a room full of leaders, right? And felt like half of them weren't even there. They're just not even connected. What did you see if that was ever the case for you?
I'm going to say 3 words. Dressed up mannequins.
Yeah. Facts. just existed. just plain as day.
Exactly. And there's a disalignment that's there. You've got your toxic politics, corporate politics. That's a whole nother talk show another day. The disconnect that you just mentioned. There's the fear-based leadership. You do this because I said you're going to do it because I said so type of leadership, and not what I believe true leadership is, which is empowering your team so that they can go be great, focusing in on their strengths versus what their weaknesses are, because their weaknesses can be compensated through somebody else on the team versus them trying to do that. And if you let them work in their zone of genius, watch the whole environment, culture change. Now you've got somebody that wants to be involved, that has a sense of belonging. It's like, oh, you know what? I'll go ahead and do this because I know how to do X, Y, Z. I can get it done in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whereas somebody else, where it's their weakness, it may take them 2 hours, 3 hours, a whole 8-hour day. So you're not being very productive. You're not being a good steward of the resources that you have right there. So let's tap into that a little bit more with what the resources are and how to best allocate and use them.
You know what? Stay right there for a minute for me, because you brought up a very good point. So what I'm hearing you say exactly is this: because we're not utilizing the resourceful talent that's in the room. You're so checked out as a leader. You're so checked out as a CEO. You're so overwhelmed that you mentally are gone. You're just not even there. All you are is just this figurehead sitting in a room. You're this existing pack of blob. You probably haven't even bathed that morning. You probably didn't shave. Hallelujah. Okay.
Sweet baby black Jesus.
I know, because you've been there. All right. In Jesus' name. Listen, so you've been there and you've seen it. But see, what they're doing is that they're piling on all of this stuff trying to be great, not realizing if you pour into your talent and you let them be great, you can be great, and then you can increase your level of energy. Is that what I'm hearing you saying?
Absolutely. And that also that ties back to the silent resignation, because if I'm not being used, then what's my purpose? Why am I here? I'm speaking from personal experience and jobs where it's like you do what you got to do, but it ain't really where your heart is in it. And you can tell that your heart is not in it because either you come into the office, if you're working from home, from one room to another, you log in and you just have to sit there for a minute to get your mind right to even be able to function. Or don't tell nobody I told y'all this. This is our secret.
Just me and you and a few thousand people. Go ahead.
Pinky swear on this. When you log in, now I ain't responsible for what your viewers and your listeners do with this information.
Disclaimer.
Okay, let me put that out there.
We don't do lawsuits here. Amen.
I don't have nothing to do with that. But you log in and you put your stapler on the space bar of your computer, of your keyboard, so that it can show that you're still active.
I cannot.
And you get up and you go do whatever it is that you got to do. I don't know. That's what I heard. That's what the streets said.
That's what the streets are saying. The word on the street. But you didn't do that because you live in integrity.
Of course not.
Yeah, we'll talk about at the podium when we go and meet him. All right, that'll be on your books. So continuing with that, okay, Dr. Tajiri, okay, I want you to stay there for me for a minute because you're just throwing out some nuggets here, and you brought up another point that's continuing in that space, is that leaders a lot of times feel lonely. They feel lonely in those spaces. So in silent resignation, they're just deciding just to give up because they just can't handle it. They're feeling lonely at work. They're feeling lonely at home. They have nobody to talk to. They have nobody to relate to. So they just feel like they just want to check out. Like you said, I got these bills. I got this mortgage. I got this house. I got these cars. I got these babies that's getting on my nerve. This child's in college, failing all of his classes. And then I still got to give him some money. And I'm praying for I can go on. But they're feeling very alone. Forbes talked about that half of CEOs experience loneliness and isolation. Speak to that for me.
It's lonely at the top.
Yeah.
Because I believe in the higher that you go, one, the lonelier it is, and the stronger you have to appear. And there's a fine line with that, because you want to be that person to where your subordinates, and I really don't like that word subordinates, because it's got a whole negative connotation to me. It's a trigger word. But anyway, you have your team. I'm just going to leave it that way. You have your team that is looking to you for the answers. They're looking to you to give them the motivation. They're looking to you for the guidance, but you don't really have it in you. You don't have the energy to be able to give it to them because you ain't feeling it. And that there's, that side of the coin. And the other side of that coin is a true leader is authentic and is transparent. So if you can tell your team, hey, today is just not the day, or you don't have to go all into your business as far as you're going through a divorce and the woman trying to take half of what it is that you got. Half, Eddie, half. I'm sorry, I had a moment there. I went back to what was it, Raw? If you remember his stand-up show on that. But whatever the case may be, the trauma, the drama that you're having to deal with at home, being the caregiver, all this other stuff that's sitting on your shoulders. You don't really want to bleed that onto your team, but yet you do need to let them know, hey, I am human too. You may have put this superficial cape on me, but that ain't who I am.
Right.
I bleed like you do. I go to the bathroom like you do.
Right.
I eat like you do. I may eat different things, but I eat like you do.
Mm-hmm.
I need sleep like you do.
Mm-hmm.
I need clothes on my body like you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just as human as you are.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the title
Mm-hmm.
and the positioning, that I have to be on a little bit different pedestal so that I can be able to feed into you.
You know what? Stay right there, because that leads us into the next topic here that talks right about that. And we're going to go into what is called the walking dead. So that's what you're pretty much talking about, is the walking dead. Leaders who lead without passion, the cost of checking out. So one of the questions I want to ask you, because you're really dropping some nuggets here, is how does a leader really, when they disengage, okay, the impact of their disengagement, in the organization and in their team, what is some of the impact when it comes to their revenue, the culture, the team, all of that? What have you seen in your work with leaders?
Wait a minute, hold up. I need my other bottle for this one. Wait a minute. Hold up. Hold up.
No chasing. We gonna bring that. I cannot.
We listen, we don't judge.
Listen. Communion, Father. Oh, yeah. Yes. Come on, speaking in tongues. It is Sunday. It is Sunday. Okay.
Hey. It is.
Hey.
So I'll say this, and actually, the former Madam Vice President touched on this this past week. And she talked about things being contagious. Disengagement is contagious. Mm-hmm. It is very contagious. You don't believe me? Check this out. You're not happy. Let me just, I'll be grammatically incorrect.
Thank you.
Thank you. You ain't happy, and you start talking to Susie Mae, Karen, in your words, Shaniqua, that you said earlier, whomever it is that you have this alliance with, your workplace bestie, and you start expressing your dissatisfaction. So now you've tainted that other person, and they are now doing the Scooby-Doo and looking at things a little differently. And it's like, oh, now that you put that energy out there, they can nitpick those different things through those lenses. And now they are disengaged and doing just enough to keep from being fired. Y'all going to lunch together. Y'all talking about the supervisor. Do you see what she wore today? Did you see how she talked to XYZ, or how he talked to blah, 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 or whatever the case may be? So now it's turned into a gossip session over lunch. And you see them when you come back from lunch, you know what you said about them. And you try to keep that to yourself, but you really want to speak it. Yeah. You are respecting the position, and I put position in air quotes there, because that's who you are. That's your character. That's what's embedded in you, to respect the position, but you don't respect the person. Right. So the culture goes down. Disengagement causes, people to, you're now become infectious. You're now a virus. So that's spreading. Absolutely. And then that can impact the performance, and also that can bring down revenue. You hit, I was just getting ready to go there. That affects productivity. And when it's all said and done, the bottom line as to why companies and organizations are in business is to make money. Even nonprofits, they are in business to make money. Yes. So when you get to that point and you messing with their bottom line, now I need to take action on what the situation is. Why are you messing with my bottom line? What is it that's messing with my bottom line? And what do I need to do to fix that so that my bottom line is not impacted? Or if it's impacted in the right direction, not in the wrong direction. Absolutely. Which leads me to the next question is this. Let's talk about the real reason, okay, why leaders, they stay in their roles, but they're just silently quitting, right? They just don't want to be there, right?
Could it be a fear? Could it be an ego? Could it be a level of comfort? What is it about their reasoning that you've heard in the background why they're staying, even though they just don't want to be there? It's jogging on my nerve.
And I got the second bottle here just in case. Anyway, it's like zombies in the workplace.
Yeah.
I want you to visualize that.
Yeah.
Return to the zombies. They all mummified and they just
dry lips and all. Dry lips and all. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking like Tyrone Biggums with those white crusty lips. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're messing with my cameraman. He's striking over there in laughter. Go ahead, Cletus. Okay.
Oh, it's the fear of leaving. It's the fear of unknown. It's the fear of being revealed for who you truly are, kind of like the wizard. Behind the curtain, there's the real person. And you put this facade that's on, but I just simply have to ask, what's the cost of staying?
Yeah. There's the question right there. Let's answer that. What is the cost?
What's the cost of staying? I mean, there's so many different pieces to that. So if you're looking at it personally, what is it costing you emotionally? What is it costing you financially? What is it costing you as it relates to your family when you go home? Are you not giving them the best of you because of the foolery that's at work? What is it costing you physically? Because if there is a dis-ease, there is disease. Yeah. If there is a dis-ease, there is disease that comes with that. Right. So there's just, what is it costing you spiritually? I'm not here to tell nobody who they need to go with, none of that stuff, but whoever it is that you believe in, whatever it is that you believe in, if it's not in alignment, here's that word again. If it's not in alignment, then there's some discourse within you and you're not showing up to your full potential.
I want you to stay right there for me because of the fact that it brings me to a story. I was working with a client, and this particular person, he wasn't technically in a leadership role, air quotes, but his type of profession put him at the top of his game, and his brand was always coming forth. Now, check this out. What he said to me was so powerful, and he could clearly see that I am definitely 100% beautiful Black woman, okay? And I could definitely tell he was a handsome Caucasian man. Now, listen, he was in his 50s at the time when I was working with him. And one of the things he said to me was this. He said, the pressures of being a white man is too heavy for me.
Ooh.
I said, wait a minute, talk to me. Talk to me. Because I have never heard of that before. Right. I have never heard of that before.
Just off the cuff, with you saying that, I'm like, but there's privilege.
Right. But
so how can you possibly
listen?
Just initially.
Right. Check this out, Dr. Tajiri. Watch this. It got me to do the Scooby-Doo, like, And so I'm like, okay, well, talk to me because now you got my attention. He said the pressures of being me all the time because I did not choose to be this person. I was born this way. And there was weight placed on me by my parents to be a certain way because of the color of my skin, the class that I'm in, he said that was a weight for a young boy like me. He was his own personal experience. And I said, okay, he said, I wanted, check this out as we sit here on a podcast. He said he wanted to be a radio show host. But his family said that you need to be an attorney. He said, you need to make this is what his family said. You need to make a lot of money. You need to do all of these things because of who you are and the community that you come from.
That's a culture thing. That is a straight culture thing. Because I'm thinking as far as that's a classism and culture thing. It's
now
I'm seeing the whole lot.
Now watch this based off of the real reason. He began to silently resign from his position because he no longer wanted to hold the weight of the ego that he was assigned to. He said, I just want to do the things that I wanted to do, not because of the skin color, not because of my religion, not because my family has lineage in these places. And he even said, not because of my privilege, but I wanted to do what I wanted to do and love it. And he silently began to resign from the passion of being an attorney and move into the space of a radio show host. And once he began to tap into that and he began to be in those rooms, he lit up. Mental health just went skyrocketing. Heck, he told me his sex got even better in the bedroom. I said, let him use you. Glory. No need for Viagra. I was like, okay, well, let's talk about it. So when we talk about the real reason why people stay in these roles is that sometimes what we don't believe is the reason, it actually is. So that's just one of the stories I wanted to share with you.
And that goes back to what is the cost of staying?
Yeah.
That goes back to my question. What is the cost of staying?
Right.
And in your example, it was costing him his happiness. It was costing him his sex life.
There we go.
It was costing him showing up authentically. It was costing him the ability. It was costing him the challenge of having to be smothered and put this facade on as to who somebody else believed that he should be and not who he is. So he was actually sending a representative. So if you want to call, he had a bipolar life. He had a duality. You know what? That is a great segue. I really did not intend that, but it was perfect and on time, and we can talk about that later on. But he just wasn't able. There's that duality that he had to truly live in for somebody else's idea of who he was versus who he authentically was and down in his soul.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the next topic, which is so important. I mean, you're just dropping gems, Tajiri. This is why you've been in this business for over 30 years. This is why people come to you to get their lives together. And this is why people now can see you on the Leaders Lounge. You're definitely going to come back. We're going to talk about some other topics. But that leads us to that next question. You're segueing right in, is the comeback or the exit, where should they stay or should they go? And so a lot of times leaders feel like they're in a rut, right? And they just want to leave. What would you say is for any leader that's feeling it right now, if they want to leave, should they just get up and go? What should they have in place? Like being stuck and fearing to go. What would you say to that?
So let's just start here as far as the rut. If you're in a rut, you still have a flame. You still have some passion.
Okay.
But when it's time to leave, you sit in that parking lot an hour before it's time to walk in that door. You dread Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. If it's a weekend thing, Saturdays and Sundays. You walk in the building with tainted energy. And that too is contagious. When we talked about the disengagement being contagious. That's just another way that it shows up. So, you know, when you get to that point and you get to the point to where you're almost flippant and you basically want to tell somebody where to go, how fast to get there, and what vehicle to use to get there, that's when you know it, from my opinion, that's when you know it's time to get the heck up out of there. But if you're in a rut, then it's just a temporary situation.
Right.
And something is going to come and it's going to spark that fire.
Right.
To where you're back into your zone. It's going to be an idea, a conversation. You see something that reminds you of your passion, and you get back in the groove and start going. But when it's time to go, is what that old song says, take this job and shove it. You kind of have that you have that energy that's all over you when you walk in the door. And soon as you walk in, it's like, it ain't 5 o'clock yet.
Right.
What am I doing here? Oh God, I had that such and such meeting today at blah blah. She knows she ain't got no business being there. She know why is she in this position? Why is she holding on to it? Because she can't talk to nobody. I mean, you just find all these little things to nitpick about, and everything is. She knows she ain't had no business wearing no green shoes,
right,
with that purple skirt or whatever. We're just finding something
and
to
that
nitpick
tan
at.
jacket and and her tan bra. Listen, because she don't know how to dress.
Women, and she flooding about that high. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's what
she ain't had no mirrors in her house. She ain't got no friends. Where her husband? Where all of this other stuff. So I mean, I'm being facetious about that. No, but the things that we just start finding to nitpick about and start tearing down because we don't want to be there. That negative energy is just festering, and it grows. And it just expands because we ain't got our mind right.
Right.
We ain't got our heart right. It's not in alignment with who we truly are as an individual. And probably a good example of this, as far as showing the shift in positions when we first get a job, it's like, oh, everything is wonderful. These people are great to work with. I'm learning so much. I'm happy, joy. 6 months down the line, what the hell did I do?
Yes. In the words of the prophetess Gorilla. Okay, y'all know what she said. Okay, you know what she said.
Oh, God.
And there it is. The prophetess, Miss Gorilla. All right.
Did you bring Gorilla into this?
Yes, she did. She's manifesting. That's the prophetess for 2025, which leads me to the next. I hate you.
Which how this is going. It's a segue upon segue upon segue.
Right. So the next question in that space, right, is what is the most boldest or most unconventional move, you've seen when a leader checks out? And that brings me to my story. I remember working at a particular organization, nameless, and I needed to have some major surgery. And my organization was not willing to change my health insurance so I can get this surgery done. Mind you, this surgery was going to save my life because I had a cancerous tumor in my body. I had multiple fibroids. I had 18 of them, and one of them was so big it was ready to pop. So they needed to, It was during the time of opening up and all of that to, change your insurance. I think that runs about November, October of every year, right? And they wasn't willing to do this. My doctor had already told them that, hey, she needs to have the surgery or she's not going to be here by the end of the year. And my, not HR was fine, but the organization above them that handles all of the health benefits, they told me no. And I do remember saying to myself, and I said to my mother at the time, I said, you know what? Sometimes you got to bet on Black. You got to bet on you. And I had a strong conversation with my ex-husband at the time about it, because that was going to change our trajectory when it came to, moving our son back and forth. And then also I had a strong conversation with my husband, my wonderful husband, Mr. Talley, about, can we do this thing? And
my friend.
Yes, you love some Taiwan Talley. And so
I do.
He said to me, do what you got to do because I'm trying to do 50 years with you, not 5 days. And so I took the leap of faith with no additional income. I saved, I went and had the surgery, saved my life, no cancer, all of that. So sometimes we have to make these bold, conventional moves. What have you seen as far as unconventional moves that leaders have done in order to make a decision?
You ready for this?
Yes, I am.
You sure you're ready?
Let's get it.
A listening sabbatical.
Okay.
A listening sabbatical. So you may be wondering, what is that? What does it look like? 30 days, 1 month, 1 full month of shadowing your employees and just listening to them, asking the raw questions, asking the tough questions. No, what they say, we listen, we don't judge.
Yes.
Because sometimes that's a reflection. That's exactly what you need to get from them to know better how to lead, how to better serve them as well. So taking that time, and what that's going to do is build trust, strengthen the trust that they have within you. It's going to let them know that you truly care about them as a person, and they're not just a number, employee number, or paycheck number, invoice number, or whatever the case may be. And what a great segue here. It ties into power, privilege, and humility, which actually is the title of one of my books as well.
Wonderful.
So it taps into that trust, that accountability, that vulnerability, and again, that connection, that human connection through conversations, through relationship building, but truly taking that listening sabbatical, because that's not only going to help shape them, but it's going to help shape you. They are going, I say, help me help you. So with you helping me by telling me what's either wrong with me, and it's not I don't know any other way to say this. It's not a bitching fest.
That's it. It's raw, unfiltered. Because somebody wants you to say it so they can release them. Okay, help them cross the River Jordan. Ah.
Okay, well then we're gonna split this sea then, and we're gonna walk right through it. It's not one of those venting type of sessions.
Right.
It's truly being grown enough, responsible enough, accepting true criticism, because sometimes we can't see what our faults are.
Right.
And it takes other people looking at us to be able to call them out.
Right.
And to call us on our ish.
Right.
As to what it is that we're doing, what we're doing wrong. And then once they tell us, then taking a true assessment.
Right.
And not being on the defense about it. Now that's something, oh God, sweet baby Jesus, I have an example of that. One of my mentors / leaders was using the Bible. Well, if there's an issue that you have, word says that you should go talk to your man about that. I mean, just that whole thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm a PK. Okay. But no, I'm not here to again, as I said earlier, tell anybody what they need to think, how they need to believe, or what have you.
Right.
But one, the fact that you're coming to me with that.
Right.
Just kind of began to set the tone.
Right.
And then if you're going to ask me the question, what is there an issue that I have or that I had? And when I tell you, then you come back on the defense as if you're trying to validate my feelings. That's something you cannot do.
Right. Right.
So now I'm feeling more reserved. And pulling back because you just told me I don't have a right to feel the way that I feel.
Right.
How dare you?
Right. And that can that can come on both ends, because that diminishes the passion. But you talked about reigniting by engaging and doing all the things, which moves us into the topic of how we bring all of this together. What are the solutions? What are the next steps? And you have quite a plethora of a lot of those things that I want you to talk about it. You know, what are some ways that a leader can, get to the next step in resolving this silent resignation for themselves? So what is the most unconventional way a leader can reignite their passion for their work without quitting? Can you give me 2 things that they can do?
Have a courageous conversation.
Okay.
And that courageous conversation is not with the other people. It's with yourself.
Right.
Be true to thine own self. And from there, that should lead you, or shall I say, let's propose this question, which is, what do I need to do? Or what do you need from me that I'm not giving? Right. That's the ask for yourself. Right. And again, when you're doing that listening sabbatical, that's something else that you can ask. That's another place where you can pose that question.
So stay right there and give this last tip on how to rehab that plan. What is one daily habit or mindset, right, shift that they can pull, together as a leader out of the silent, to pull themselves out of that silent resignation, right? What is the daily habit or habit or mindset shift that they can use to pull them back and re-engage them right back into that leadership? Give me 3 top things that can really make that shift for me.
Unos, dos, tres.
Only 3 of them. Let's get it.
Let's start with boots on the ground.
Okay.
Especially, and you said that earlier.
Yeah, we don't need the fans because we're
get the fans out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
She from Texas, y'all, so that's where that came
from. It really is boots on the ground, especially if you're in a service industry, because with putting the boots on the ground, you're able to understand and see the perspective of the people that get the first interaction.
Got it. Okay.
Of your organization. When you get those boots in the ground, is this representing what it is that I want my organization to portray?
Got it.
What I want my team to portray. Right. And this goes back to, what I just said, as far as the courageous conversations, and the listening sabbatical. Those would be the 3 things I guess I could say that right now, since you're limiting me to only 3.
Yes. We're going to get more of you. Absolutely. But go right into and talk to us about the books that you've written and how we can get in contact with you. How somebody says, right now they're listening to this and I need to get my boots on the ground. I need to get my butt up. I need to go ahead and put my bra back on and get myself right back into this room so I can reignite that passion, because they are of value. And as long as they make that mindset shift that you talked about and really re-engage themselves, now I need a coach. Now I need Dr. Tajiri to pull me into the next space. Talk to us about your books and talk to us how we can get in touch with you.
Absolutely, my love. So first, how can you get in touch with me? The answer to that question is Dr. Dr. Tajiri, T as in Tom, AJIRI.com. Very simple. Dr-Tajiri.com. And there you'll be able to see all of my books, and the Emerald Code is the next one that is on the horizon. Oh my gosh, what has been downloaded to me. That right there is going to be part of a whole movement. So I hope you guys are ready to really do the transformation through your leadership. Because that book right there is just laying out the blueprint, the skinny. It is so super dope. I'm geeked on it because it works within my framework of Dorothy. And I guess, you know what, let me pause right there real quick before I touch on these other 2 books. In case you haven't figured it out, a lot of this is centered around the Wizard of Oz. And of course, my tag name in these streets, the Workplace Wizard. I firmly believe that when you simplify things and simplify concepts and procedures and, dare I say, policies, just the whole strategy as a whole, when you simplify it, it's easier to retain. And once you retain it, then it becomes executable. Because how many of us have been to a lunch and learn or some meeting or whatever, and it was just a to-do list, you check it off so that you can say you got it done. And unless you were truly engaged in the topic, you really didn't do anything with what you were put in the room to learn. So I'm flipping that script by simplifying it through childhood stories. Yes. And one of my favorite childhood stories was The Wiz. And I actually looked at that again just the other day and comparing that to the Wizard of Oz. And it's much deeper on the Wiz, not just because of cultural appropriation, but so many different layers that fall within that. And, I look at Dorothy, who's the visionary, the team leader, and she's got her team, which is a Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. And they come from different pedigrees, different backgrounds. They are DEI too. But they have to work together in order to be able to accomplish the goal of seeing the wizard and getting what it is that they need. And it's all that whole individual transformation, and it's that team transformation. So by putting it in childhood stories, that removes the barriers of what people may have in their preconceived notions or thoughts or what have you, as it relates to leadership development. So that's why I put it in the simplest form so that people can remember it.
Absolutely.
And it just goes a long way. And even within every time I watch that movie, different things are just pointed out to me. So if you want to dive deeper into the Oz experience and the Emerald Code, once you go to my website, there'll be a link there to dive into an intensive, and we can some nitty gritty and just get the meat and potatoes and dessert and all of that other stuff, the full 5-course meal and a little libation along the way to get into it. But anywho, that's the Oz experience and the Emerald Code. As far as my books,
let's see
this
it.
one, okay, hold on. I don't even know
there
if
it
you
is,
can see
right
that.
there.
Okay, beautiful. Power, Privilege, and Humility, Unveiling the Layers of Leadership Lessons Learned. This baby right here, all kind of nuggets that are in it. Again, I told you, simplification for me. So if you can really see that's candy that's being unwrapped, just diving into those different layers. I'll give you a couple of chapter titles to kind of help you understand how deep I go here. And then I'll touch into the other book. But for the first chapter is The Powers That Be. Is leadership an appointment, an assignment, or an authoritative position?
Nice.
That's one there. Another here, leadership is a privilege. Leadership is a privilege. Don't mistake it for entitlement.
Yes, absolutely. Give us the other book really quickly before we go ahead and wrap this one up.
You leaving me?
Yes.
Okay. And the other here is Bipolar Faith, the roller coaster ride of spiritual. Look,
that's my favorite.
The spiritual ride, the roller coaster ride of spiritual resilience and emotional vulnerability. As a leader, again, there's that word, vulnerability. As a leader, you need to be able to pull back the layers, to pull back the onions so that you can get to the nitty gritty of it and be able to truly serve, because leadership is nothing but service.
Yes.
So that your people can grow and again operate within their zone of genius.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Tajiri. Y'all give it up for her. Y'all make sure you go to her website, you sign up, you get the books, you get the training, you get the tools that you need. But one thing I will say this, in order for anybody to be great, they got to have some folks behind them that's supporting them. I don't know anyone that is leading successfully, impacting well, right? That's really changing things, moving the needle, unless they have, as long as they have like a coach behind them. If they don't have nobody working with them, if they don't have nobody talking to them, if they don't have somebody they can check into, like accountability consultant or a coach, then they're going to be unsuccessful. They're going to make decisions that don't make sense. They're going to do things that's going to harm others. That is not a leader. That is somebody that is unleashed in chaos. And we're going to leave that where that is. And if you want to go ahead and figure that one out, you go ahead and take it as she takes a sip on that one. But anywho, with that being said, Dr. Tajiri, this is my friend. This is my sister. She is my safe space. As a leader, this is the person that I can call to take off my cape. I can take off everything. I can take off my hair and say, listen, this is what's going on in the workplace. And I'm about to, commit homicide. Listen, so with that being said, I just want to say to Jerry, thank you for being a wonderful guest. You've dropped some amazing nuggets in the space. I look forward to all the things that's going to be happening with you, Miss Lady. I truly appreciate you. Yes, hearts, hearts, hearts. Absolutely. So my name is
anything for you.
Absolutely.
Anything for you.
So listen, my name is Dr. Wendy Talley. I am your corporate wellness expert here on the Leaders Lounge, unfiltered, raw. We said the things you heard me saying, and trust me, there is more to come. Y'all make sure y'all tune in, share it all over your social medias. You can get with me on YouTube, and also I am on IG. Make sure you click, you listen, because there's going to be more. And with that being said, I will see y'all next time. Peace.
What?